So how is it to be in Tiverton and Honiton today supporting your Conservative candidate?
Well, absolutely good. Look, in the West Country, we need Conservative candidates in place like Helen Herford here. She's a local girl, grew up here just outside Honiton, lives at Luppet, has been a teacher, runs a business here, really knows the area, and I think she's going to be a great champion for Tiverton and Honiton.
You're here today to talk about farming and agriculture. What's your message for those in the farming and agricultural industry across Tiverton and Honiton?
Well, this morning I met a group of farmers to talk about some of the challenges they're facing. They are in an environment where there's been inflationary pressures, some rising input costs, and although the farm gate prices of things like milk has also gone up, there are some anxieties. So I was talking today about some of the things the government's doing to try and help them manage those risks, to try and help them control those costs, and to try and help them with the cash flow. So this year we're bringing forward some of their annual subsidy payment to July so that it helps them get through this tricky period.
Of course, Tiverton and Honiton had a champion for farming in Neil Parish. Just how missed is he in Westminster and the farming community?
Well, look, Neil Parish was a friend of mine. We were both farmers. I had a huge amount of time for him, and he made a mistake and chose to step down. And the important thing always in politics is to focus and face the future. And in Helen Herford, we've got a fantastic candidate here. She really knows the area. She was a school teacher in the area and has got all sorts of ideas to improve road infrastructure, for instance the relief road at Cullompton, to get more funding for schools in Devon. I think she's going to be a great champion for the area, and that's what I'm here to focus on today.
Of course, national headlines at the moment, it's a challenging time for the Conservative Party. Just how do you think that's going to be affecting the by-election here?
Well, look, I think generally people want to still focus on the really big issues. We've been through the trauma of a pandemic, and that's caused all sorts of issues around the world. There's inflationary pressure right around the world, and this government's really focused on helping people through that. Just today, the Chancellor has announced a new package of measures to help those on the lowest pay, particularly to help pensioners with an extra one-off payment of £300 a year for them, and also to help people with their energy bills with a £400 rebate to replace the previous scheme. So we're constantly working to help people chart a way through these troubled times, difficult times as we emerge from the pandemic. We did very well, I think, to get our country out of the pandemic. The vaccination rollout was a huge success, and we now need this Prime Minister and this government to really help people come out of the pandemic and get our economy back on its feet.
So the Prime Minister, the right man to take the nation forward?
I think he is, yes. And look, the Prime Minister has apologised for the various issues that happened in 10 Downing Street. There were some failings there. We've absolutely acknowledged that. He's apologised for that and paid the penalty that he himself had. But the really important thing for me is that on the big issues, I think this Prime Minister gets the calls right. He guided us through the pandemic, got that vaccine rolled out faster than pretty much any other country in the world. We do now have one of the fastest growing economies in the G7, but we've got some big challenges to deal with as well. Most importantly, the cost of living, and that's why the announcement from the Chancellor today is so important.
Finally, what's your message to those people? They may have doubts or they may be looking elsewhere at the moment. Those Conservative voters going out to vote on June the 23rd.
Well, look, here in Tiverton and Honiton, it's vitally important that we have a strong Conservative representative. We've got a great team here in Devon of Conservative MPs, and indeed those of us across the border in Cornwall work closely with our colleagues here in the southwest, in Devon as well. And we just need to have Helen Herford elected here. She'll be a fantastic champion for the area, and I really hope that we're going to get her back in place. And this is a government that's trying to deliver for people, help with the cost of living. I'm here today because agriculture is such an important industry in this part of Devon, and I want to meet farmers and hear about their concerns.